Welcome back to the main stage and the final day of conference. I'm Conrad Murray, class of 2017 alumni from Berryville High School and an official friend of East. Not only because I've been with you guys for 2 days, but also because I've joined the official Friends of East networking group on Facebook.
Well, look at you, Conrad. Hi, everyone. I'm Priscilla Foreman, an East alumni from Whitehall High School, class of 2019, and the official Friends of East membership chairman. Yeah, Conrad is not the only one who's official. I'm so glad to be back at East Conference, or should I say, the last official day of East Week, thanks to Governor Asa Hutchinson and Judah Watkins, a student in East at Greenbrier High School.
The location of the first official East program.
We have 2 great education sessions this morning before our closing and award session today at noon that fit the theme of today, Inspire and Share Perfectly. So let's get started with Behind the Scenes at EastCon 21. East Conference has always been a production, but we wanted to make sure that this year's production was top notch. So we made some friends with Cameron McGee and his crew at Avad 3. And they will be starring in an in-depth behind-the-scenes look at East Conference 21 and our homecoming production.
We encourage you all to engage during the session using whatever tools are available on your chosen platform. Attendees watching from Facebook or Juno can use emojis in the chat to connect with the content, the speaker, and other viewers. Questions can also be submitted in the Q&A tab on Juno or through the chat on Facebook. Use the upvote or like button to push questions you like to the top of the list. And after you watch the session, please don't forget to fill out the survey. We will share a link in the chat.
The session will begin shortly. In the meantime, share your favorite part about conference this far in the chat or comments. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, EastCon. It's good to see you from here. My name's Cameron. I'm the proud owner of Avad 3 Event Production, and I'm looking forward to giving you a behind-the-scenes tour of EastCon. I know if I was watching this from wherever you're watching, your school or home or whatever, if I was watching, I would be geeking out the whole time. I'd be trying to figure out how many cameras do they have and what is that behind that, and I kind of zooming in on the GoPro. I'd be pausing the GoPro shots and zooming in on my phone to see what's going on behind the scenes. And so if that's what I would want at home, I'm sure we're kindred spirits. I bet you want a similar thing. So I'm going to show you around. Before I do, I'll let you know a little bit about me and so you kind of know your tour guide for this. I wandered up to the sound booth at my church when I was 12 years old. Had a great mentor there who taught me how to run sound. If you've had a good mentor, hit that like button or maybe throw their name in the chat. I'd be curious to see some of those mentors. Had a great mentor who taught me how to run sound from about 12 to 15. His name's Philip. I'll give him a shout out. We were texting this morning, last night, about something we've stayed in touch all the years. And then from 15 to 18, I had another great mentor, Dave Roberts. And he is actually on the crew for this, which is cool. He has been producing a lot of the video content that you've been seeing. Hit that like button if you've liked the transitions and the bumpers and all the editing and stuff. So that's actually my mentor, Dave Roberts. We've stayed in touch all the years. Anyways, had those great mentors. We didn't have East when I was in school. I think I missed it by like 1 year. I'm from Northwest Arkansas. Went to Bentonville High School. Shout out to Bentonville High School if you guys are watching. Also, a specific shout out. I was on Facebook last night. I want to give a shout out to Albany Sears at Lincoln Junior High School. My best man went to Lincoln Junior High School. I got to see a little bit of your project last night on Facebook. Way to combine 3D printing and animals. And I think it's just a beautiful portrait of East, of you combining who you are, someone who loves animals, what East is, 3D printing, all this technology and things, and putting that together. It's a beautiful story of love, and I'm sure your community appreciates that love. So quick shout out there to Albany. But grew up in Bentonville, and then went to college for 4 years. And then while I was in college, I started Avad 3, which is the company that you know today who's putting on the show. It's enough about me. I'll tell you a little bit about the company, and then I'm going to take you behind the scenes. Started at my dorm room. We're 9.5 years old. We're about to turn 10. As soon as I got out of college, I went to Henderson State University. I don't know if there's any Ready alumni here. While I was in Henderson, I did some student teaching at Gurdon High School. I hope you guys are on. The teacher then was Ashton Winklemeyer. I don't know if he's still your teacher, but shout out to Gurdon if you guys are on here. Hit like if you know where Gurdon is, if you know the Gurdon light. I didn't get to see that, unfortunately, but I was there for a semester. Anyways, while I started it was in my dorm room, and then it moved it back to Northwest Arkansas, where I'm from. And we've been there ever since. Over the past few years, we started traveling a lot more. We do production for conferences and all sorts of big things. And so we started locally, and then we kind of went regionally, and then now we're really a national production company. I'm really proud of what we've built. That's enough about me and enough about us. I want to show you behind the scenes, and I want to introduce you to the people who are behind the scenes, because it may be some positions that perhaps you want to be in one day. I think production houses some of the coolest and most hardworking people in the whole world, and I want you to meet them. So I've been here. You know what this shot looks like. I'm going to come over here to this camera. I'm going to throw my mask on, and we are going to take a walk down the hallway here. See if you can keep up with me here. We're going to go for a big walk. I know when I used to go behind the scenes, if I could stop by like a concert or I'd stop by maybe a news broadcast or something, what I loved to do when I was y'all's age was I loved to follow the cable. And that's literally what we're going to do. We're going to go for a long walk here. Maybe some of you have been to the East headquarters here and you recognize these walls. Shout out to East headquarters. Hit that like button if you've been to East. But I used to follow the cable, and that's what we're going to do here. Everything in production revolves around placement, power, and signal. You got to place everything, you've got to get it power, and then you got to get it signal. And so we're following some of the bigger cables out to where the power starts, where it all originates. Out here, we're kind of out in the East garage. I think that's what this is called. And I'm going to even go outside. So again, really giving TJ a run for his money here on the camera work. Probably throwing in an ND filter or something. You throwing in an ND right now, TJ? Shout out if you know what an ND filter is. Anyways, yeah, the show is actually running on a generator. I'm going to take my mask off. The show is actually running on a generator, believe it or not. East has a beautiful building. We love the building, great facility. But production takes a lot of electricity. It takes a lot of power. And so rather than plugging things in and hoping we don't trip a breaker, throw something in the comments if you've tripped a breaker before, you know what that's like. Rather than plugging everything into the walls and hoping we don't trip a breaker, we brought in a big generator. And that way we know that we've got plenty of power, which is really important, making sure we don't lose power. That cable that runs the generator is called feeder cable, and then it plugs into this. This is a distro. It's got 3 hots, a neutral and a ground. If you're into electricity, you kind of know what that is. And then it breaks it out into SOCA connectors, and we run those SOCA cables 150 feet or so, and turns into Edison outlets, regular outlets that we can use. If you don't know much about electricity, I encourage you to read up a little bit on electricity. It's kind of the foundation of what we do in production. It's important to know. While we're out here in the shop, I'll show you this pile of cases. And then I'm going to take you in there and let you meet the crew. When I first started the company in my dorm room, we didn't have much. I literally only had 2 cases. I bought the first 2 cases. And anyways, I bought these 2 cases. And I color-coded them because I had nothing but time on my hands. And I started labeling them. I started putting labels on all sides. This is a good example here. We like to label all sides of the case. And I just kind of really almost spent too much attention on those cases because I just had 2. I might as well love on them. Over the years, we've bought more cases, as you can imagine. We've grown a lot in the last 9.5 years. And as we've grown, we've just built a little bit at a time. And so every time we buy 2 more cases, we just put that same amount of attention into it. Karen, who's on my team now, has taken the baton from where I left off on my OCD problem, and she has taken over on labeling things. And so she does a great job. One thing I want to give a shout out here to Karen specifically that's really cool that Karen did and implemented, way smarter than I am. She went through and barcoded everything, which is incredible. So every time we leave for a show, when the case leaves the shelf and goes across the dock plate to head to the truck, she scans it out. She scans it out just like a library book. And that's not a big deal this week because this EastCon is a big show. The whole team's here. But sometimes we have a lot of small shows. Maybe on a weekend we have like 5 smaller shows all at the same time. Well, as you can imagine, this Pelican case is expensive. If this were to get left at a convention center up the road or across the country, we want to know, where was that case? We don't want to just guess. We want to find that case and go get it quickly. So the barcodes help us do that. Anyways, that's it for the cases. I love cases. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But cases are important to keep everything safe. While we're out here, let me, before we go back in this way, let me introduce you to somebody who's been following us around trying to stay behind the camera. This is Andrew Minna. Minna is shooting some behind-the-scenes footage. Shout out, I think you guys call it the doc team. Is that what it's called when you're at EastCon? I love that you guys have a doc team. He's been shooting video. What is that thing, Minna? Here, I'll hand you the mic. Can you hold the mic and the camera at the same time? What model of camera is that?
This is a Canon R5.
Love it. He's shooting an R5. If you know what an R5 is, hit that like button or shout out something in the comments if you know what that is. Minna, how long have you been doing production? I'll put you on the spot here.
About 8 years.
8 years. Isn't that fantastic? So how old were you when you started?
14.
14. I love that. Isn't that great? Minna's been doing production since he was 14. I've been doing production since I was 12. A lot of y'all are that age. Some of you are even younger. And I think it's important if you find something you love to stick with it. She's trying to hide, but I'm going to also introduce you to Bailey and give TJ another run for his money here. This is Bailey. I'll hand you the mic too, put you on the spot. Bailey, what was your first job in production?
Shooting just like Andrew is over there.
Yeah?
Yep.
And where did you go to college?
University of Central Arkansas.
Do you recommend it?
Absolutely.
You like it?
Yeah, it was a great film program.
What, your major was film?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So film at UCA.
Yep.
That's great. Okay, let me introduce you to the crew here. Thanks, Bailey. Let's go down the hall, and I'll keep letting you meet the crew. By the way, if you have any questions, throw them in the Q&A section on whatever platform you're watching on. April is monitoring that, and as soon as I get back, I'm watching the clock here. As soon as I get back, I'm going to let you ask questions. So throw them in the Q&A. Anyways, let me get down here. I'll throw my mask back on. I'm going to come in here to the control room, which is the coolest part of the whole thing, in my opinion. So let me throw this on. And maybe you've even seen this in some of the GoPro shots, but this is really master control for the whole conference. This is where we're doing all the MainStage stuff. Let me introduce you to, you met Bailey. Let me come over here to Holden, who's on audio. Holden, watch out. Holden's got a very tough job right now because he's got a comm headset in one ear. He's got his in-ear in the other ear. He's listening to the sound. He's mixing me and watching the meters, and he's trying to listen to what I'm saying because I'm about to put you on the spot, Holden. He's literally turning his own fader up for this handheld.
Yeah, turning myself up here.
Holden, what console are you mixing on?
This is a Midas M32 mixing console. It's a very accessible console, very popular. It's a great sounding desk. It's got 32 channels of audio, so if you, for some reason, need 32 channels, you've got 32 channels coming through here.
Holden, where are you from?
I am from Greenbrier, Arkansas, which that's where East was founded. I had no clue until this conference. So East was founded in Greenbrier. So shout out to my Greenbrier peeps.
That's right. East was a big deal when you were there, right?
It was. I always heard about it. And I actually wasn't in East, but I know a lot of people that were. And then they were just some of the coolest people I knew. So
that's awesome. Thanks for letting me bother you. That's Holden. Holden's the audio tech on this show. I'm going to come back here and try to introduce you to Sam. Sam's a very busy person. He's literally running the show. You want me to go over here, TJ? I'll go over here like this. Sam, just like Holden, is very busy right now monitoring 50 different things. Can you talk, or are you in the zone?
I'm good now.
Okay. Sam, what's your title here? What do you do here?
So I'm the production manager on this show. That just means I've been involved with the pre-production, the project management leading up to East Week, and then helping lead the crew here on site.
That's great. So Sam's literally like, this is Sam's show. Sam's been working on this for months. He knows it inside and out. This is his baby. He's been working with the client. But before you were working with clients, where did you get your start in production?
Man, I kind of fell into the industry, and it was all at my church. Just kind of wandered up to the tech booth, was a musician, and it's like I want to learn the other side of this. And so I got my start running audio for the worship teams and services. So
that's cool. What would you say you'd be doing on this show if you weren't in the PM seat? Where would you be sitting?
Oh, Holden would be out of that seat so quick. I'd be mixing audio, hands down.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Sam. Sam's a very important person because nothing happens without Sam. Sam's who counts us in and out of everything. Sam is literally running the show right now, and I think I saw you literally running earlier, so he must have been fixing something. Sam's the man. I'm going to come all the way over here, and I'm going to let you meet Tyler Heron. Tyler, where are you from?
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Look at that. In his hometown.
In my hometown for once.
That's awesome. Tyler, where did you get your start in production?
I started at my church when I was about 10 or 11. My dad, who played bass in the worship band, the percussionist had to step out one Sunday, and Dad was like, "Hey, come play shaker for us." So I went up to play shaker. He said, "Oh, by the way, they also play the track, so push the button too." So I pushed the button for the first time. I was like, "Hey, this is pretty fun."
That's awesome.
And so then the rest is history.
Tell us what you're doing on the show. Like, walk us through. You've got a lot of computers here. So which computer does what?
So these two computers right here are playback machines, so they play all the videos, and they're redundant. So this is our main, this is our primary, or backup. So every time I fire one on this one fires a second later. So if this one goes down, Seba can just switch over to our redundant. This is just a computer to show me my show flow. And then this computer is my personal computer running my Stream Deck to actually control these.
Shout out if you know what a Stream Deck is. Throw that in the chat.
Yeah,
I love those things.
I just got this today, so.
Look at you joining the Stream Deck Club.
Yep.
Are you also doing our clocks, or is that at this position?
It is. I'm doing clocks through ProPresenter on our playback machine. So this has ProPresenter on it, running the videos, and it also has a stage display out, running all the clocks.
That's awesome. Thanks, Tyler. Tyler also, before we got in this seat, before we were like in show mode, he hung all of our lights, focused all the lights, made the stage look really good in there. So Tyler's very multi-talented, which is important. All right, Alicia, you are not off the hook. Alicia, I'll take a knee here so we're on the same height. Alicia does not work at Avad 3. Alicia's on the East staff. Shout out if you know Alicia, maybe in the chat or in the Q&A, start asking Alicia questions. Alicia, why are you sitting in here with us?
So I'm sitting in here because for conference, I'm in charge of general sessions and the main stage. Okay. So I got to work with Sam and his team and all the pre-production and planning with East staff and Avad.
When did you start writing this? Because you wrote a lot of this. When did you begin writing? How long ago?
I mean, we started doing some of this even back in January.
Wow.
of working and designing. But, you know, we started with some of the ideas even before Christmas, so even in December.
And when did you stop editing it? How long ago were you editing this morning?
I think maybe an hour ago, maybe 45 minutes.
So for 2 months and then up until an hour before the show, that's fantastic. So you are running our prompter, right?
Right, yeah. So I'm running the prompter for our on-air talent, so for our alumni host, and as they are giving intros and thanking our various sessions. And I'm also communicating with April, since she's doing some of that Q&A portions as well. So I'm working with April on that. So it's kind of multitasking when we're seeing some various things come up that I'll run back to Sam, and Sam's the guy that fixes all the things. So he is in charge, and I'm thankful for that, and thankful for all of y'all, because y'all are helping making my job much, much easier.
Thanks, Alicia. I appreciate that. Alicia, since Alicia runs a prompter, she's all of our best friend, because the talent does what she says. If it's in the prompter, they do it, and it actually helps us hit our cues, because we can literally read ahead and we know, okay, when they get to the end of the sentence, we're going to hit that slide. So Alicia is running the prompter, but that's such an important role in the crew, because we're kind of following her every word, except for right now, which I'm off prompter, and so everyone's in a cold sweat, just completely freaking out on what I'm going to do next, which is come over here to Sebastian. Sebastian Guerra, it is your turn. I'll hand you the mic. Good luck. Sebastian is extremely busy right now, because Sebastian is running the switcher for this. I'm going to take a knee. I like this knee idea.
TJ is doing a good job to frame me. And
that's good. Yeah, that's TJ.
Follow me.
Look at him complimenting his camera people right now. I love that. So Sebastian is punching the show. He's operating the switcher. Tell us, what's that title? What title do you call yourself?
Director.
Director,
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
Calls himself the director. I agree with that title. What's been the hardest job for you this week? What's been the hardest part about this? When is your mind really pressed?
Yeah. Well, TJ, if you can show, you have a lot of sources, kind of sources we call cameras, computers, clock. You can see that. It's a lot of things going on in front of me. To be able to keep my eyes on all those little squares and to decide which one I need to punch. And also I'm sending different sources, computers, cameras, stuff, to different destinations, different locations. And that is to keep that in mind, to try to hear what my producer, in this case Sam, is telling me to do, and try to keep my head and eyes in one place and punch the right button. That's kind of...
I love that. Where did you spend the first few years of your career? Like, where did you really get started?
Well, for a long time, I worked for a TV channel in back in my country. I'm from Chile.
Shout out Chile.
South America, yeah. Hola, amigos. I work for a TV channel there, and I was doing news, camera operator and stuff. I started my TV career there.
That's awesome.
And then I joined Advad3 with an apprenticeship program, and I started learning about other areas of production.
That's awesome. Sebastian's very humble. He's literally punching and calling the whole show here. This is Sebastian's show. Thank you, Sebastian. I'll let you get back to doing that and keeping everybody on their toes as I walk around. One last person here, last but not least, Karen. I'll hand you the mic. Karen, why do you have so many computers, and what is each one doing? This is a lot.
Yeah, so you have 4 computers. 2 of them are running slides and pictures. And then this one is for lower third. So I just push a button and then we get a lower third across the bottom.
Hey, look at that. I love that.
And the top one is for logos when we want to put logos in the corner of the screen. So.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. And what's happening over here then? So you have those are doing those. What were these again? Did you already say that? I'm sorry.
These are slides and pictures, and then sometimes they're different depending on what we're doing. So when we have Zoom presenters, we're using the second computer up here to have a background framing around them. So.
I love it, and it's very important. Karen already knows the winners of the upcoming awards ceremony, so it's very important that we don't get too close of a shot of these computers. Hopefully those names aren't on here. So later when we're doing an awards ceremony, Karen's going to be firing all of those, which we're very excited about. Thanks, Karen. Thanks for letting me put you on the spot. Let me make a few more stops here, and then I have one other person to introduce you to on the way back. So let me show you this. This is really, I told you I like cables, I like cases, I like all the production things. This is the back of the switcher, and I want to show this. The crew was like, oh, you're going to show that, but I love showing this because I want you to see the attention to detail on every cable being labeled, of course, and all that. But I get questions a lot of time from high schoolers, and I love for people to stop by the Avad3. And this is an open invitation, by the way. Anytime you're in Northwest Arkansas, send us an email or reach out on social or whatever, and come by. Seriously, you're welcome to come spend 15 minutes. We'll show you the shop. But often they ask, hey, you know, I've been doing this for a while, but I want to be in charge. I want to be the director. I want to be the leader. And what I tell young people a lot of times is, well, you know, every person on this crew started somewhere, and we've all worked harder and harder, and we've continued to grow. I love the spirit of East. We're always pushing growth. And what I'll tell you is Sebastian's in charge of this show, and Sebastian's in charge of this show because he plugged in every single one of those wires. He knows where every single one of those came from and where it goes. If something went wrong right now, Sebastian would do a cartwheel over this case, and he'd be back here and he could track down every wire. And so whenever you know where every cable goes, where it came from and goes to, that's when you can be in charge, and that's how Sebastian got to be in charge of this one. He is the brain behind every single cable in this building, and I just have so much respect for technical people who can be that way. So I'm going to go this way now. TJ, you're doing great. And I'm going to introduce you to one more person, and then we'll head back to the main stage. And I think I have time for questions. Yeah, I can see the clock. I'm going to have time for questions, so throw those in the Q&A. April's keeping an eye on those. So that was the whole crew, but then there's this closed door, this secret area. And this isn't because the person behind this door is the queen, although she might feel like she's the queen. This is Morgan. Everybody say hi, Morgan. So I'm going to hand you the mic. This is Morgan Johnson. Morgan, what is your title on this show, and what are you doing?
I am the remotes producer. I make sure that everybody on Zoom is connected and we can hear and see them, and we can produce them for you so that you can hear and see them as well.
So literally, what are you doing right now? Is that April?
This is Miss April with East. She has been our awesome moderator for all of your sessions. She has been taking your questions and making sure you get the answers that you need.
I love that. Thanks. So this is so important. You know, when you've got remote presenters, like this show, when we have remote presenters on Zoom, they don't get to kind of be backstage, if you think about it. Like this morning, I was backstage. They put this microphone on me. They said, stand on this X. These presenters, you know, with Zoom, you just kind of pop in. And so Morgan has them pop in early. She talks to them, coaches them, lets them know she's going to count them in. That's how we make those presenters really look their best, and that's the secret sauce. We put her in here so she can be talking to them and not bothered by all of our chatter in there. So here's Morgan's private suite of being a remotes producer. If you like to be alone, be a remotes producer. Let me come down here. I'll bring you back down the hall. This is cool. This is just sitting out here in the hallway. This is our antenna for our wireless microphones. Sometimes wireless microphones just have little antennas on the back that look kind of like this. This is a big old shark fin antenna. And that's how they were able to get the microphone way out to the garage so you could hear me when I was out there. So that's what that is, if you're curious. I'm going to make my way back in here. And April, hopefully you're standing by. You looked great. By the way, now is the best time of any. I can't think of a better time. Did you realize, I'll take my mask off. Did you realize that today is April's birthday? And so I want to wish a big happy birthday to April. And I'm going to settle back into this spot here. I think you've got me on the main camera. We've got a whole 21 minutes for questions. I'm so proud. I thought I was going to be long-winded and not have time, but we've got time. So April, if you can hear me, how are the questions looking? Is anybody curious about anything?
They are. We've had several questions come in, and I'm going to funnel through them. Some of them are about the crew, and some of them are about Avad 3 specifically. So we'll start with the first one. If there wasn't a pandemic, how many shows a year does Avad 3 typically do?
I love that question so much. Right before the pandemic, we were growing like a weed. I was so proud of what we had done. The short answer, we usually do 135 shows a year. That's where we had been hanging out for about the 2.5 years before this. We had been traveling the country. Literally, you're not going to believe this. In the 60 days, right before the pandemic hit, we were in Washington, D.C., San Francisco. We were outside of Los Angeles. We were all the way down in San Antonio. We were up in Detroit, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Little Rock, West Memphis. We were in all those cities the 60 days right before the pandemic. We had been doing a lot of stuff for the presidential election, and we were following a candidate. It's a very fast-paced business to be in because they decide on a day-to-day basis which city they're going to go to next. So it's a very exciting time. We've got a truck full of stuff, and we pack it up, and they say, okay, head south, and we start driving. But we were really busy right before the pandemic, and so it's been a sad year, but it hasn't been super sad because we've been able to pivot and help events just like this. Look at East, we're streaming this event. It's okay, we're virtual, we're doing it. And so it's been a good recovery, but I do miss the smell of diesel. I love a good diesel truck. I love pushing a road case onto a truck. So we were excited when we got to come down here and do this on site. We've been doing this out of our studio up in Lowell in Northwest Arkansas. We love getting to come here. So that's a long answer for the number 135.
Cool. You mentioned cases again, and when you were showing off the Pelicans, that's definitely one of my favorite things. Makes me feel safe and organized when we transition stuff for Doc Team. Shout out to Doc Team and all of our leadership team. When we transition things, we use plenty of Pelicans here. So speaking of streaming and doing things, we have a young lady in the chat that was like, hey, I edit videos, and if this is live, how are you guys flipping from one screen to another screen? Make it all make sense. So they're curious about how we're making this happen.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that you're a video editor. I'm curious what you edit in, if you're in Premiere or Final Cut or Resolve or what you're in. I spent a lot of years editing video. It's a very tedious job. I respect that. We are, this is the live shot, and TJ was walking around with the roaming camera. Hey, TJ, you're not off the hook. Get over here just a second. I'm going to give TJ a shout out. I don't know if you guys can get a shot of this. I'll throw this back on. TJ was following me around. Wasn't he doing a great job? Throw something in the chat if you were like sweating for TJ, throwing ND filters in and changing your iris and dealing with the lighting and everything. He did a great job. Thanks for following me around, TJ. Anyway, sorry. You thought you were off the hook. You're like, yes, I'm the only crew who didn't have to be on camera. When TJ was following me in there with Sebastian is taking all the sources. You saw his multi-view, so he's got, I don't know how many sources you have on the Sebastian, 18 or 20 or something like that. And he's cutting them together through that switcher that he's punching. He's doing that live. So in Premiere or whatever you're editing in, there's a timeline and you have all the time in the world. You can kind of say, I want this here and I'll switch that or what. Sebastian's having to do all that on the fly. All those feeds come from Karen on graphics and Tyler on playback. Sebastian can see all of them, kind of like your clip viewer. He's looking at a multi-view of everything, and then he's hitting cut on the fly. So it's very similar to video editing. It's just faster. It's way faster. But a good editor makes a good director and vice versa. I think Sebastian would tell you that. Sebastian's an incredible video editor, and when he's not here doing this live, he's editing video for us. Cross-training is very healthy. So good question. I hope I answered that. If I didn't, send me a follow-up one. I don't mind going deeper.
So to connect with that, the same young lady asked, so how old do you have to be to work at Avad 3?
I love that question. I love it. I started this when I was 12. There was nowhere that I could get a job. My friends, when we turned 14, they started like pushing carts at Walmart and trying to get a job selling yogurt and all those things. I can't remember. I'm going to put Minna on the spot. Where are you, Minna? Minna was an intern. We used to have an internship program. We don't have it anymore, unfortunately. We also used to have an apprenticeship program. I think Minna was, I don't know, Bailey's like sprinting down the hallway to see if he can give me an answer. Minna was probably y'all's age. Or I can't say that because East goes down to like 3rd grade now, which is fantastic. But I think Minna was maybe 13 or 14 when we had the internship program. Minna, how old were you when we met, when you came and were an intern?
I was 12.
Minna was 12 years old. I love that. It was a magic number 12 all day today. So Minna was 12 when he was in the internship program. I'm a big believer, it's a Bible verse, hopefully you don't mind, but don't let anyone look down on you because of your age, but instead be an example in the way that you live, in the way that you speak, in the way that you act. That's 1 Timothy 4:12. And I don't really like to label age too much. I'm continually blown away by young people. I kind of got started when I was young, and you guys are getting started when you're young. I'm dodging the question though. There's not really an official age. When we had an internship program, it was, Minna was 12. When we had the apprenticeship program that Sebastian was in, that was 18 and up. But we don't really have an official age because I don't really look at age. I look at experience and competency. And above experience and competency, I look at character. So that's kind of the qualifications to get in, but it doesn't have much to do with age.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't have much to do with age, but quality and character. So we'll have you guys continue to work on that so that you guys can work with Avad 3. You referenced Sebastian just a moment ago, and there was another question in the chat that they want to know, do you speak Spanish? So, ¿tú hablas español, Cameron?
I don't speak Spanish. I had to change my major in college because I was getting a D in Spanish 1. I failed Spanish in 6th grade. I failed it again in high school. There's something wrong with my brain. I know a lot about cables and cases and cameras, and I can tell you anything you want to know about that. There is something in my brain that does not throw the switch between languages. I am clueless on Spanish. Thankfully, Sebastian's here. If I need a translator, he's got my back.
So some other people have asked, they wanted to know, why did you guys decide to put your headquarters in Northwest Arkansas?
That's a good question, and it's honestly, it's been a challenge. It would be a lot easier to grow a production company if we went to a major market like Atlanta or New York City or Los Angeles or something like that, maybe Dallas. I grew up in Northwest Arkansas. Northwest Arkansas is home. I'm just going to throw it out there. If you're watching Northwest Arkansas, you maybe understand what I'm saying. I really think there's no better place to live. I'm not trying to bash anybody. I lived in Arkadelphia for 4 years. I love the whole state of Arkansas, but Northwest Arkansas, I've traveled the entire country. Every time we get to go do a show somewhere, I kind of pause and ask myself, would I rather live here? Would I rather move my family to wherever we are? I don't think there's any better place to live than Northwest Arkansas. So I put the roots down in Northwest Arkansas, although it makes really zero business sense because it's a very small market comparatively on a national scale. But we are really proud to have Walmart there, Tyson, J.B. Hunt. There's some large corporations there. There's some great nonprofits there. And the University of Arkansas is there. Those are kind of our 3 business sectors. We do corporations, nonprofits, and education. And those are all there. But it really doesn't make a ton of business sense. It's more of just a personal thing. I've got a wife and 2 kids, and that's where I want those boys to grow up in the same woods that I grew up in. And so that's why we're there personally.
Couple more questions for you here. Why laptops and not PCs? And then on average, how much do you guys spend on equipment?
Those are fun questions. Laptops and not PCs, and then how much do we spend? Well, the crew's probably laughing because I'm about to go on a Mac Apple commercial here. I'm a big Apple guy, big Mac guy, so if you're a gamer, you're probably like, get this guy out of here. I'm a PC guy, but I'm a Mac guy. I love Apple products. Apple, if you're watching, you're not, I'm getting a boo from the, thank you, Tyler, on the clock. He just booed me on the clock. I love that. Apple, if you're watching, you're not a sponsor of this, but you could be. Send me the money. I'd love to give you a shout out. I'm telling everybody about you. Anyways, I love Apple products. I love Mac. It's interesting that you ask. We use MacBook Pros instead of Mac Minis. We're always on the move. We're all over the country. We're in really kind of tight spaces. This show is great. We've been able to spread out, and of course we need to for social distancing, of course, at this time. But there's been times when we're crammed in a back hallway, or they put us in the fire sprinkler room or whatever, And the MacBook Pros allow us to kind of like wedge into really weird spots. It also allows us to cross-utilize those machines. Just like I talked about cross-training earlier, it's important to not just get kind of stuck in one thing. I think it's good for all of us to cross-train. Those machines are the same way. We use those machines on tons of different ways. They all have editing software on them. We can use them when we're back at the shop to edit. And so it just makes more sense from a usability standpoint for them to be MacBook Pros. How much do we spend a year on equipment? I actually don't know that. I'm not dodging that question. I don't know. I could talk all about depreciation. I know how long I keep an asset. If we buy something, I know how long we keep it. But I don't know how much we spend on equipment. I know we own a lot of equipment, but I don't have dollars and cents to put to that. Yeah, so I don't have a good answer for that one. Sorry.
It's okay. It's more about whether or not it continues to work, right? Now, how much we have to spend on it each year, as long as it's still getting the job done. So a few more questions for you, Cameron. We want to know, how has COVID truly affected Avad 3? You talked about how you guys were working, right up to 60 days before, or right up to the day before really the state decided to shut down. But in other ways, how has COVID and the pandemic affected how you guys connect and do your job?
Yeah, I'll answer that on a very personal level. This is about as personal as I'll get. The team is very important to me. I'm in business. I mentioned earlier, I love production people. I think they're the coolest, hardworking, behind-the-scenes people that don't get any attention, and they want it that way. They're servants. I love production people. And so the hardest way that the pandemic has affected us is we did have to reduce the team size. We held out for a really long time to not have to do that, but you can't hold out forever, unfortunately. And so we had to reduce the team size. And that's the hardest part of COVID for me. That's the hardest conversations, and was just extremely difficult. Thankfully, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and we're able to rebuild now, and we're starting to rebuild the team, which I'm thankful for and grateful that there is kind of hope on the horizon. But that was definitely the hardest part. Sorry, the word avad, by the way, is Hebrew for serve. We named it Avad 3. I wanted a name that really had a meaning behind it and would get me out of bed in the mornings to come work really hard to grow it. Avad's Hebrew for serve. I believe that all of us are born with gifts and abilities, and every one of us is unique. And I had friends in college and things that went off to be missionaries in Africa, and they're curing cancer and all these things. And I was really confused at kind of a mid-age there of, this is weird. I feel like I'm gifted in audio and video and lighting and production. And how does that have purpose? I thought maybe I needed to go be a missionary or something like that to save the world. But I believe that I was born this way for a reason. And I do want you guys to hear that too. I think, I'm not a good sports guy. I'm not good at sports, but Tim Tebow, or somebody who's just a great football player, he was born to do football, and that's what he needs to do. And I think if we all think that we're all supposed to go be doctors, or we're all supposed to go be pharmacists or whatever, then we're missing the mark. We're all unique. And so I named the company Avad 3, which is Hebrew for serve. I believe that whatever you do, you can be serving. And that's what production is. It's really serving. And if you're above that, if you're above any task, I definitely encourage you to maybe switch paths, because production is all about being behind the scenes. It's all about getting out of the way. We have a very distinct vision that we think that no event should be plagued by issues and technical difficulties. We believe that it's possible for events to be flawless, for them to be very smooth. We also feel the same way about stories. We've got two departments. We do event production, but we also do video production. And we believe in capturing stories. There's incredible stories, incredible nonprofit stories, success stories that deserve to be captured and then amplified and out to the masses, and really done well. And that drives us to do flawless event production and to capture stories through video production. And I get out of bed excited to do that because of our name, which is Hebrew for serve. It's not about us. We didn't come to be served. We're here to serve. Anyways, that's a little bit of a detour from the pandemic, but I'm really reduced the team size, but we're growing again. I'm very thankful for that.
I love that Avad means serve in Hebrew. That's really cool. And that you connected with us, and a major part of our mission is service and going out into the community to connect and grow. And so speaking of growth, tell us how old Avad 3 is again. And then, as we just turned 25, and what do you see Avad 3 doing in the next few years when on your way to 25?
I love that. Avad 3 is 9.5. We're going to turn 10 in May, which I'm very excited about. It's a very busy week for us, so we'll have to hold off on the confetti a little bit on that week. We've got a lot of events to do that week, which I'm very grateful for. We're about to turn 10. The future is bright. We were on a really good trajectory right before the pandemic. The pandemic paused a lot of things. It also accelerated a lot of things. We'd been doing streaming and offering streaming of events for about 4 years, but a lot of clients had kind of viewed that as not that important. Why would anybody stay at home when they could be here? And I agree. I love the magic and the energy of being in a room, but the pandemic has accelerated that. And so I'm looking forward to production budgets growing as clients realize they've got tickets and they've got people in the room, but they also have a whole nother audience they can serve online. I'm looking forward to sponsors getting a better ROI from events and video production as they say, hey, this used to just be shown for 500 people in a room or 1,000 people in a room. Now we can put this online. We can get it in front of more eyeballs. And so I'm looking forward to the future. Production has been around for a while and it's not going away. I think in the pandemic, our parents and a lot of the business world has kind of gotten used to Zoom a little bit. They've gotten used to just a webcam and kind of a low production value. And I think you and we both have the opportunity to now blow that out of the water and just break the glass ceiling of what production value can look like. We've got a blank slate and a ground floor ahead of us, and it's time that we show them that. A lot of clients kind of appreciated us before. Oh, those guys make it sound good or whatever. They're here somewhere. And I think now they realize, wow, we're not on the air without these guys. And that we don't need a pat on the back, but we do love when clients get it. And I think you know the same way from working with clients on projects, with the stories that you're working on in your projects. When they get it, it just makes it more of a collaboration. It makes it where we're working together instead of they're over here and we're over here. So I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to the future being bright as production gets integrated as an integral part of budgets on these projects.
I just want y'all to know that we didn't pay Cameron to use our power words, our strong words like collaboration and service and tell your story and be unique and go after the mission. It's just natural. We came together as a family during this homecoming celebration. So we did not pay him for that. It's just natural. It came to him naturally. So Cameron, we are nearing the end of our time together. And before we head out, I want to give you the opportunity to tell our students and our viewers how they can connect with you guys, where they can find out more information about either working with you all or booking you all for some upcoming events.
That's great. Thanks, April. I encourage all you guys to follow us. On social, it's at Avad3. Look at that. Karen, look at that timing. Way to go, Karen. It's at Avad3. The 3 is spelled out on social. Our website is just Avad3, and it's just the 3, avad3.com. Hop on the website. We've got some blog posts and stuff out there. We need to be writing more. We took a hiatus from that. We've got some good stuff out there. Also, we're on YouTube. Find our page on YouTube. We've got a lot of training stuff that we use internally, and I've been inspired this week to maybe make some of that stuff public. We have a lot of training stuff that we use to train the team, and as I think about all these East folks out there, I thought maybe you guys would enjoy watching some of that. So go find us on YouTube and like and subscribe and all those things. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Our Instagram's beautiful. I love what the team's done with our Instagram. You can also reach out. The website has a contact form. You're welcome to use that. It's info@avad3.com. That's fine. I want you folks following us, and we want to follow you. We're kindred spirits on the same path, and I think it's important that we get to stay in touch. So follow us in those ways. And I meant it earlier. I was back there and kind of in the dark when I said this, but I'll say this now. Seriously, you have an open invitation from me anytime. Come by the shop. We're in Lowell. It's right in the center of Northwest Arkansas. It's like the bullseye of Northwest Arkansas. We're dead center. Really, come by. I'd love to show you the shop. Karen would love to show you the shop and all her barcodes and everything. We'd be proud to show you the office and the studio and all of those things. And I hope that it would inspire you. My goal from doing this behind the scenes was more just to show you the wires. I want you to be inspired that this doesn't have to be a hobby. It doesn't just have to be something you do in school. It can be a career. When I was in school, we didn't have East, but I wasn't aware that this could be a career. I was getting a degree to be a teacher. I was going to be a high school history teacher and maybe do this on the weekends. I hope that by seeing this, you've been inspired to say, wow, I could do this as a career. This could really be my full-time job. And I hope coming by the shop or dropping by a show sometime, continue to see that vision for yourself. Continue to look ahead and say, I could be that person. I could be in those shoes. Think about the crew and think about who you'd want to be on the crew and drive that direction. I'm cheering for you all the way from Northwest Arkansas. We're going to continue to stay in touch and hope to see you guys in the future. So thanks for asking where to follow us, April. I appreciate that.
All right, Cameron, thank you so much for, again, dropping another one of our power words, inspiring. You can follow us on social media with the hashtag #InspireChange, and you can definitely join the Avad 3 team or the East team by inspiring change. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you back on the main stage soon.
Thanks, Cameron and Avad 3 for that look behind the scenes at EastCon 21. This session was recorded, so you can go back and view it on our Facebook and our YouTube channels. Our next education session is sure to be inspiring. Living Your Dreams will start at 11 a.m. Until then, we'll be showcasing East announcements and East throwback videos here on the main stage.
Welcome to East Homecoming, celebrating 25 years of East. EastCon 21. Daily agenda. 9 until 9:45 a.m., the morning pep rally. 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., the main stage, educational sessions and more. 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., the exhibitor spotlight. 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., closing and awards. Don't forget to select your program difference maker. The East Day of Giving is April 22nd, beginning at 8 a.m. A Day of Giving is a 24-hour online event to rally supporters for East. To volunteer as an East Day of Giving ambassador, email development@eaststaff.org. Friends of East is more than just a network of people who are passionate about East. It is a network that fosters relationships in order to support East and its students through value-added services and support through fundraising, events, and volunteering efforts. We are currently recruiting for members to sit on educational, social, fundraising, membership, and engagement committees. Give back to East in a meaningful way by applying here. Get your East apparel at eastlink.me/gear. Check out t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and much more. Shop now while supplies last. Again, eastlink.me/gear. Friends of East is more than just a network of people who are passionate about East. It is a network that fosters relationships in order to support East and its students through value-added services and support such as mentoring, volunteering, and funding efforts. Go to eastinitiative.org, click on Support the Cause, and then Friends of East to join Friends of East. It's East Homecoming, celebrating 25 years of East. EastCon 21. It's the East Scholarship. The deadline to apply is May 14th. For more information, contact scholarships@eaststaff.org. If you would like to support the East Student Scholarship Fund and help an East student alleviate the financial burden of college, please visit supporteast.org. Conversation starters. Pre-registration is not required but is highly recommended. Space is limited to the first 40 participants. Reserve your spot now. Welcome to East Homecoming, celebrating 25 years of East. EastCon 21. Friday at 9 a.m. as seen on the CW Network's Penn and Teller Fool Us and the Travel Channel. Magician Nash Fung will bring his interactive magic directly to your home. You will find out how a magician can create magic using the items in your hands, even when we are separated virtually. Important! To participate in this virtual magic show where you can experience the magic unfold in your hands, please bring your cell phone, playing cards, and if cards are not available, 8 pieces of scrap paper sized about the size of a playing card will substitute, an unopened can of soda, Coke, Pepsi work best, and a fork, spoon, and table napkin. Don't forget to submit your difference maker information. We want to celebrate with you. Thank you to the 2020-2021 East Facilitator Advisory Board for providing invaluable input and serving as powerful advocates for East. Elisa Kiefer, Valley View Junior High School. Jamie Stallings, Lakeside Junior High School, Springdale. Troy DeVille, Whitehall Middle School. Chuck Hollis, Crossett Middle School. Dorothy Ivy, Gentry Intermediate School. Adrian Ware, Hope High School. Jerry Harvey, Wynn High School. Kelly Faulkner, Kiamichi Technology Center, Poto, Oklahoma. John Stokes, Lakeside High School, Hot Springs. Amanda Wicker, Lonoke High School. Shane Hartzell, Magnet Cove High School. Tommy Welch, Marshall High School. Tara Hodge, Monitor Elementary School. Danny Pugsley, Mountain Home Career Academies. Stan Wisnett, North Little Rock High School. Paul Miller, Oak Lawn Magnet School. Lori Campbell, Sulphur Rock Magnet Elementary School. Friends of East is more than just a network of people who are passionate about East. It is a network that fosters relationships in order to support East and its students through value-added services and support through fundraising, events, and volunteering efforts. We are currently recruiting for members to sit on education, social, fundraising, membership, and engagement committees. Give back to East in a meaningful way by applying at eastlink.me/FOE committee. Look for the lightning bolt to earn points and work your way up to the top of the leaderboard. The leaderboard resets at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. on Wednesday and Thursday, and the final reset is 12 p.m. noon on Friday. The top 3 winners will be displayed on the leaderboard page after each reset. The more you participate, the more chances you have to win a prize. Welcome to East Homecoming, celebrating 25 years of East. EastCon 21. Check out the list of today's education sessions under the Sessions tab. No registration is required. Education sessions are open to everyone. Today's featured sessions, Behind the Scenes at EastCon 21 at 10 a.m. and Living Your Dreams at 11 a.m. It's the last day of EastCon 21, and we have one last challenge for you. If you haven't already, print the conference bingo card from the digital kit in your experience box. Reflect on everything you've experienced over the last 3 days and see if you can fill the card in to make bingo. Post a photo or video with your filled card using hashtag EastCon21Bingo, and your content will be displayed on the conference social wall. One lucky program will receive a $25 Amazon gift card. Competition ends today at 3 p.m. and a winner will be selected at random and will be announced this evening. Looking for a way to display your East Conference photos and keep up with what everyone else is doing? The social wall is your answer. Simply upload a photo of yourself, your team, or your project to Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter using EastCon21 hashtag. Then head over to the social wall in Juneau to see more submissions. Get your East apparel at eastlink.me/gear. Check out t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and much more. Shop now while supplies last. Again, eastlink.me/gear.
Welcome to the education session, Living Your Dreams. Commander Harrington will discuss his path from a small town in Oklahoma all the way to the International Space Station. We encourage you to engage during the session using whatever tools are available on your chosen platform. Attendees watching from Facebook or Juno can use the emojis or the chat to connect to the content. And other viewers, questions can also be submitted in the Q&A tab on Juno or through the chat on Facebook. Use the upvote or like button to push questions you like to the top of the list. After you watch the session, please don't forget to fill out the survey. We will share a link in the chat. The session will begin shortly. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much. Hey, my name's John Harrington. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. I'm living in Kalispell, Montana, just to the west of Kalispell. So it's snowing here. It's supposed to start, so I'm not sure what it's like down in your neck of the woods. But once again, thank you so much. Shout out to Kelly Faulkner for inviting me to join the East Conference. I spoke with Kelly and Sharona a few years ago in Oklahoma, and so it's my pleasure to come back. So I want to share this. It's a story. It's a journey that I took, and I call it living my dreams because as a little kid, that's what I used to do. And I used to sit in a cardboard box and dream I was going to the moon. So I didn't get to the moon. I got to the International Space Station, but it's the path that I took that I want to share with you. And this idea of how do you go from a small town in rural Oklahoma or any place for that matter to achieving something that you thought you could never accomplish. So real quick on my screen here, I think you may be able to see it. You see three people, little me, middle me, and older me. When I was a little kid, my brother was standing next to me in that picture with the sunglasses, and I took him out of that. The guy in the white suit's me. That suit weighs 300 pounds, but weighs nothing in space. I signed that for a young man one day, and he goes, "That's not you. That guy's really young." So there's the older me. And if you really want to get a good look at what I look like now, that's me with a mustache and my dog here in Glacier National Park, which is really close to where I live. So let me take you through that journey. And then by the time I'm done with this, I'd love to answer any question we have so that you may have for me. This is a friend of mine named Joe Tanner. And as an astronaut, we sit in class for about a year and a half, off and on simulators classes. And one gentleman came in, astronaut, wrote a very large number on the board. He said, in the history of the human race, we estimate 108 billion people have lived on the surface of the earth. Then he wrote a much smaller number. As of today, 568 people have had the privilege of flying in space. Out of the entire human race, only 568 people have had the privilege of doing that. And he told us, he said, never forget how fortunate you are to do something that so very few people have ever done. And I know that for a fact. I'm very, very fortunate that I get to, I've had a chance to do that and share the story with you. Out of the 568 people, 237 have actually stepped outside of the spacecraft and done a spacewalk or worked on the surface of the moon. And I'm kind of curious. I'm the 143rd person in the history of the human race, to do a spacewalk. And it was just absolute high point of my professional career. You know, a lot of folks go, John, what's it like on the moon? Well, I didn't go to the moon. Okay, well, in the history of the human race, only 24 people have left this planet and gone to another body in the solar system. And I was very fortunate that of those 24 people, 12 of them actually worked on the moon. And I've been good friends with a few of those guys. One of them sat across the table from me, Captain John Young, and asked me why I wanted to be an astronaut. And he hired me. And so I'm very privileged in my lifetime, dreaming about being an astronaut and working with these guys has been a fabulous experience. My living a dream started in Oklahoma. This is my great-grandmother, Bina Underwood, my grandpa, and my brother. My heritage is Chickasaw Indian. I'm a citizen of the Chickasaw Nation in central Oklahoma. Half of my family came to Oklahoma on a wagon. Other half of my family was already there. And I've always been very proud of my heritage. I didn't realize when I came to NASA that I was the first enrolled member of a fairly recognized tribe to be a member of the astronaut corps. And so I've had a chance to share my story, my journey with kids that never had a role model in that position. We liked aviation. That's my mom and me when I was about 5 years old. I've always liked airplanes. My dad was a pilot. He gave me flying lessons when I was probably about 10 years old. So I've always been in touch with aviation, but I never really pursued it as a career until much later. That big bow tie is my senior prom picture. I didn't go to prom. Unfortunately, I had moved from Texas to Colorado and started the university with this notion of being a forest ranger. I wanted to work outside. I didn't want to work behind a desk. You change a little bit when you go to college. I certainly did. I spent most of my time outside, very little time studying. I earned earned's a bad word. I had 2 Ds in biology, a D in Western civilization, history, and a 1.72 grade point average got me kicked out of school as a freshman. So how do you go from being a college dropout to being an astronaut? Well, it's a matter of people that come into your life and make a difference, and decisions you make that take you down that path. Gee whiz. I worked as a rock climber on a highway in Colorado, and I don't know if you can tell, there's a train here that's the Colorado River and a big elevated highway. I used to hang off of these cliffs with a piece of glass called a prism, and that piece of glass reflected light that was shot at me from a guy on the ground, and that light travels at a constant speed. And so if you knew the time it took to go from one point to another point and back again, you can determine the distance. So I essentially learned trigonometry on the side of a cliff from guys that were that loved what they did. And I was fortunate. A guy I work for that owned this company convinced me to go back to school and make something of myself. Don't accept making $4 an hour. Don't accept, you can do a lot more, he said. And so I did. I went ahead and became I got a degree in applied mathematics. When I was a senior in college, I tutored a gentleman who was a retired Navy captain who flew aircraft in World War II, and he convinced me to join the Navy. And so in 1983, I joined the Navy. They cut all my hair off, all that lovely hair that's finally starting to grow back. And about 14 weeks later, I was an officer in the United States Navy. I went on to fly large airplanes. They're called P-3 Orions. I used to hunt Russian submarines. That was my job for about 4 years. Most of my friends left the squadron and went to work for the airlines. I realized that dream I had as a kid, if I wanted to achieve that dream, I needed to do something else, and that was to go to test pilot school. So I applied to the Navy Test Pilot School in Maryland. I was selected in 1989. Went on to have just a fabulous career with a bunch of really neat folks from all around the world, Air Force and Marines. I had a guy from Spain. We had a lot of neat folks. Got to fly a lot of neat airplanes. This is an Army airplane. Actually did flight tests for the Army. Went on to fly the P-3, as you can see here. It's a beautiful airplane. And then I was the first test pilot in the Navy to actually fly one of their new trainers, or to look at the trainers that were going to come on to teach others to fly. So had a lot of responsibility in my 20s, which a lot of folks in corporations don't get a chance to do. Had $1 million budget that I had a chance to work with, and realized now, if I wanted to be an astronaut, I had to do something else. I had to get an advanced degree. So I applied to get an advanced degree, earned a master's in aeronautical engineering from the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California. Applied twice to NASA, and I was fortunate on my second application to be selected to the 16th group of astronauts, 44 people. We were nicknamed the Sardines because they usually pick about 10 or 15. They picked more in this class than they ever have in any other astronaut class. So I actually drew this patch. This is my artwork, a little space shuttle with a bunch of sardines in the back. So for sardines, space is no problem became our mantra. The gent holding my nose is named Gus Loria. Gus was our Marine pilot. Unfortunately, had a medical issue, couldn't fly with us, but wonderful guy, good friend of mine. Had a great time, good people. This is off the launch pad in November of 2002. I'm sitting on the flight deck, about 7 million pounds of thrust, giving you a good kick in the pants up into space. Takes 8 of that launch. You go from 0 to 17,500 miles an hour, way over here. You're going up and around the Earth. So when the engines quit, you go from 3 Gs, 3 times your normal body weight, to 0 Gs instantaneously. And everything starts floating. And the first thing I did was not look out the window. It was watch my checklist float in front of my face. It always fallen to the floor. And now I could just watch it hover. And for, this dream as a kid to be in that environment, it finally become a reality. And it was a great experience. This is over New Zealand. It's a neat photo because the space station took this photo of us when we took a photo of them, and I'll show you that in a second. But this body of water right here, this is called Cook Strait. James Cook sailed a sailing ship, the HMS Endeavour, through that strait back in the 1700s, and our spaceship is named after his sailing ship. So that was pretty unique. And so space station took our photo, we took their photo. And our job was to install a piece just like this one with a big white panel over here on the empty side. And these big white panels help cool the space station. So our job was to install one right over here. We did that with 3 spacewalks. Mike and I went out for about 20 hours. I did 3 spacewalks over about a 6-day period. Great fun, a lot of hard work, beautiful way to see the world, step out for the first time. And it's 250 miles below your feet, all the way to the earth. I never felt like I was falling. Some people do say they feel like they're falling. Neat thing about this suit, though, the pressure, you change the pressure in that suit to do work, and it goes down so much that your ears actually will get squeezed. You feel a pressure, like if you dive in a pool or go up in an airplane, you'll feel the pressure in your ears. So usually you'll grab your nose and you'll blow, equalize that pressure. Unfortunately, you can't do that in that suit because you can't grab your nose because the helmet's in the way. So there's a little white cushion right in the front that you put your nose on and you close your mouth and blow. Well, I didn't realize that when I did that, a bunch of water came out my tear duct in my eye and went and it stuck to the inside of the helmet because all the liquid in my sinuses was floating, just like the liquid in my body was floating, and it came out and stuck to the helmet. So rather than tell NASA what happened, I decided I would be a highly trained professional and lick it off. I slurped it off the inside of my helmet, and the Russian goes, John, don't do that. You fog helmet. And sure enough, the first spacewalk, my helmet fogs up. But it defogged pretty quickly, and I didn't get sick, and I got out when I was supposed to, so pretty cool. Great shot. I was spacewalking, or space crawling is probably a better term for it, hand over hand down the side of the space station, and Mike was inside the truss, and he said, hey, wave, and so I waved. Great shot of the Endeavour. The darkness of space, there are stars out there, you just can't see them in the brightness of the sunlight. Just like during the daytime, we can't see them here on Earth. At night, you can, but pretty remarkable. It's a great shot of the Endeavour. Myself, I'm the little guy on the right side of the picture, taking a picture of Mike, who just took that picture of me. So here's Mike. Everywhere the sun is shining, all that white stuff, all that metal and all that fabric, it's about 200 degrees Fahrenheit in the day and minus 200 at night. It takes 90 minutes to go around the Earth. So for 45, you're in darkness, and 45 minutes, you're in sunlight. And stuff gets hot, stuff gets cold, but you don't really feel it. The suit is so capable, and you don't hang on to stuff for too long. So pretty neat. The space station is about 3 times as long as this now. It's about the size of a football field. So that little guy right there is Mike. This is the only picture of me in space with my visor up. I was too busy to think about flipping my visor up. But this is getting to a night pass. The moon is what's behind me. I'm holding on to a cart that weighs about 1,000 pounds, and I'm hanging on to it with a thumb and a forefinger in both hands. And you can do that. And I moved that cart from one side of space station to the other. So pretty neat to be able to hold that size of hardware in your hands in a weightless environment. Pretty cool. It's a great shot that was taken of Mike. Mike has little red stripes on his legs. Mike was taking a picture of me up here while somebody took a picture of him. And this is a picture Mike took. And that's the background you have right behind me. So I'm always looking over my shoulder. That guy right there is me. Another great shot, getting ready to go back in the airlock. If you look in my visor, you'll see Mike upside down relative to me. I'm upside down relative to the Earth. And nothing is upside down. Upside down is what you see. It's not what you feel, because gravity is constantly pulling you back to Earth. You just can't tell. And constant free fall. So real neat little video of some of the stuff we did. Got to play with our tools. Spinning. Got to play with our food. That's Peggy with a bag of pistachios my kids gave me. Not very good at eating them. A lot of fun. This is on the middeck of the space shuttle. Peggy had been in space for about 6 months. We were taking her home. This is a bag of orange drink. This is what liquids do in space. They form into a ball. You can actually push it around. This is with a dental floss. I'm trying to move it with dental floss. It will stick to things. It'll stick to you. It'll stick to the equipment, so you got to be careful. A little energetic there, Paul. Yeah, get it. Highly trained professionals. There we go. Nope. This is a chain my commander had around his neck, and we put it in a ball of water. You kind of see what it does. Pretty cool. A little air bubble in the middle there. We slept in sleeping bags. That's Sergey. I slept between, so I didn't like the feeling of not touching anything. So I'm here between two bags. My head's actually Velcroed to the pillow. Peggy slept standing up, and my friend Paul would sleep on the ceiling. So he would do a backflip into his sleeping bag. That was my mission. This one's a little more fun. I call it Fun in Space. Some guys on STS-132 did some really neat things in zero-G. Ba-dum-ba-da. It's my friend Garrett Reisman. He actually worked for SpaceX, the company, for a while. That's a bag of water. Ah, yuck. Blah, blah, blah. They had a fun time. Dum-ba-da. I think everybody would want to do this, and you can do this in space. This is Mike Good and Tony Antonelli. They're trying to get these little licorice fish. They're called Swedish fish. You have candies you can get. They're trying to get it into a ball of water. I think it took them 4 tries. There you go. That guy in the red shirt that just zipped by, he's on space station right now. So there's your fish in a ball of water. This is a knob that they spun really fast, and just shows that something can be stable in space if you spin it, and it doesn't tumble, and you can actually push it around with air. This is an unstable astronaut. I think his name's Steve Bowen. Unstable in the fact that I think he's a gymnast, but I'm not sure. I think at the Naval Academy he was. Bark, bark. It's on the middeck of the space shuttle. All those blue little squares are Velcro. Lots of Velcro on the space shuttle and space station. Lots of tape. Lots of stuff. A lot of fun. The lady in the gray shirt's Tracy. The guy in the black shirt's Piers, one of my classmates, doing a 1-finger pull-up. We should all be so fortunate. Very graceful. Henri. Picking on each other. I tell my Canadian friends this is called curling in space. So if you can imagine curling in the Olympics, this is the puck, and here's the sweeper right here. Kind of fun. It's nice to play games. It's nice to have good friends and do some neat stuff and have a good time in space. We undocked in 2002. We installed a piece you can see on the right side right here. That's actually the left side of space station, but it was beautiful to be able to fly away and to see it after our work. This is what it looks like now. 16 countries have been involved in the manufacture and assembly of the space station. Piece I installed is right here. It's been working perfectly for almost the 18 years it's been up there, almost 20 years it's been up there. And I was very fortunate to get a chance to participate in this remarkable endeavor. To honor my heritage, I flew 2 things. I personally took 2 things out. One's an eagle feather. The other's a flute. The eagle feather was given to me by a gentleman who was his grandfather was a survivor of the Battle of the Little Bighorn. Name was Phil Lane Sr. His beaded Mother Earth and Father Sky and all the people of the world. The flute was made by a Cherokee friend of mine who's an engineer at the Kennedy Space Center. And both of those now are in the Smithsonian Museum of the American Indian in Washington, D.C. I also flew a little pot. This is made by a friend of mine named Al Koyawema, is a Hopi potter. He actually put cornmeal in it, and he is also an engineer who has a patent on the inertial navigation systems for the X-15 rocket plane. And Al flew this on the payload bay of the shuttle, and it's now also in the Smithsonian as well. Real quick, some neat photos of the Earth that people don't get a chance to see very often. At the top up here is China. At the bottom is South Korea. In the middle is North Korea. You just can't see it. Pyongyang, North Korea. And you can see this in space, the demilitarized zone. and there's something not happening in North Korea. This is closer to where I live. I'll take you around the West Coast. This is Boise, Idaho, Portland way over in the corner, go down to the West Coast, San Francisco, run down to Los Angeles. You come up to Las Vegas, up here to Salt Lake City, and way down here is Phoenix. That's pretty neat. Closer to where I live, Portland, Oregon is right here. There's Portland, I'm sorry. Portland's right there. Up to Seattle, up to Vancouver, Canada. This big bald area is the Scablands of Eastern Washington. Spokane is right here. I live in Montana, right over here. Another quick shot. If you're looking down, straight down, this is Flathead Lake right here. This is Glacier National Park. I'm sorry, it's Kalispell, Montana, the town near me. Glacier National Park up here, beautiful, absolutely beautiful national park. And I live right over here where it says me. That's where I live. Closer to where you guys are, I think this is a good one. This is Houston, Texas. Go over I-35, there's San Antonio, up to Austin, Dallas, or Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Poto, Oklahoma's over here, up to here, Fayetteville and Fort Smith, Arkansas. Little Rock is just on the corner over here. Oh, there's Dallas-Fort Worth too. Wow, there we go. Let's go out the other way. This is Hubble Space Telescope. It was launched in 1990 with a bad mirror. Well, why did we do that? Well, because NASA didn't test the mirror. And when it got to space, they opened the window, this big cover right here, and the pictures were blurry. That was a big mistake. Fortunately, we sent astronauts up to fix it, gave it glasses. This is a little better picture. This is an even better picture. This is called the Eagle Nebula. It's about 7,000 light years from the Earth. This is a 7,000-year-old picture. It took 7,000 years for the light from this formation to make it across the universe to the Hubble Space Telescope. And what you're looking at is the actual formation of stars. This is a celestial nursery. This is hydrogen gas and dust. And these little fingers you see on these big tall things here, those are stars being born. This is an actual picture of how stars are formed in the universe. And it's 7,000 years away, 7,000 light years away from us, 7,000 times 6 trillion miles. It's far. Hubble took that photo, and Hubble's not stationary. It flies around the Earth at about 17,000 miles an hour, always moving. But to get this next picture, it had to point at a place in the sky that was so tiny. Imagine looking at a hair a mile away from you and not take your eyes off of it for 10 days while you're moving at 17,000 miles an hour. If you can't imagine that, this is the picture you'll get. There's a couple stars here closer to Hubble than all the other stuff in the background. All that other stuff are galaxies. There are 10,000 galaxies in a point in the sky that's equivalent to looking at the eye of the president on a dime at the end of your arm. Hold up a dime, look at the eye of the president, and imagine this picture. There's 10,000 galaxies in that picture. Every galaxy is 100 to 200 billion stars. And now take that and multiply it over the entire visible universe. And they estimate there's 1 to 2 trillion, oh no, not more than that, 1 to 2 trillion galaxies in the universe times the hundreds of billions of stars. They think for every grain of sand on the surface of the Earth, there's a star in the visible universe. And I get asked all the time, do I believe in aliens? And the answer is, do I believe aliens fly flying saucers here? No. Do I believe aliens live in the universe somewhere? Yeah, I do, because of this picture. Probability is so great, complex, beautiful. And, it just boggles my mind, and I love it. That's a 13 billion year old picture. That's looking back at the very beginning of space-time. And I could go into that for a really deep discussion, but let's move on. Back on the space shuttle, we came home after about 2 weeks. We landed. I'd never felt so heavy. Couldn't stand up for about a day. Took about a week to get used to being back on the Earth. I felt really, really heavy. I used to walk on carpeted floors and feel like somebody put marbles under my feet. It was really bizarre. The mission after mine was Columbia. I lost 7 friends on Columbia. Didn't come home. Broke up over Texas. 3 were my classmates. We didn't fly for about 2.5 years. I was actually offered a job on the space station as a commander, but I have a medical issue with my back that kept me from flying on space station for a long period. So I made a tough decision to leave the office in 2005. I retired from the Navy, went to work for a commercial space company. that unfortunately didn't progress the way I'd like it to. It didn't have the money, but I went on to do something else. I decided to ride a bike across the country. Went to work for the Chickasaw Nation here in Oklahoma. I started at Cape Flattery, pedaled all the way to Cape Canaveral, Florida. I called it Rocket Trek. Along the way, I met a woman in a little place called Lewiston, Idaho, who I ended up proposing to at the end of the bike ride. Got married, went to Idaho, went back to school. I earned a PhD in education, working with Native American students to look at the factors that motivate and engage kids to study math and science. And unfortunately, my wife passed away a couple of years ago and from cancer, but she encouraged me to write a book. I wrote a book called Mission to Space. It's a children's book that has some really neat photos of me and training to fly in space, growing up as a kid and stuff, and living the dream that I'm sharing with you today. Here's a really quick video of that flight. That bike ride, I should say. Great bike ride, changed my life. About 4,200 miles on a bike. Do it again in a heartbeat. Right after my wife passed away, I was offered an opportunity to be in a movie called Into America's Wild, and I filmed this for the past 2 years. Just premiered last year. COVID stopped us from going out and sharing this story with others. Wonderful young lady named Ariel Tweedo filmed with me. I'm going to show you a really quick video of that movie.
were born to explore. From the earliest adventurers to today's modern-day trailblazers, our curiosity moves us forward into the great unknown, where a vast and beautiful wilderness is waiting to be discovered. I was chasing down the dream, like you always taught me to. The creators of National Parks Adventure invite you on an exciting journey into the natural wonders of America. Coming home to the place that I remember, back to the land of my first love. Join astronaut John Harrington and Alaska native Ariel Trito as they explore the great outdoors, from ancient homelands and hidden trails to the wilds and our own backyard. Take a step off the beaten path into nature's secret wonders and find out what it means to be at home in the wild. I'm coming home to the place that I remember, back to the land of my first love. McGillivray Freeman's Into America's Wild, a film for IMAX and giant screen theater.
Harriet Tubman was an escaped slave, and she actually led a battle for the Union Army, was a nurse. And she said this back in the 1800s, and I think she was very prophetic. Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember you have the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars and to change the world. And I'm very fortunate that people came into my life and encouraged me to do something that I only dreamed about. So I've been living a dream, and I hope and believe that you can too, as educators and the students. We all have the opportunity to make a difference in this world. And I've been very, very fortunate that I get a chance to do that. I'd like to go and stop sharing my screen, and I think we can go back and do some Q&A here, I believe. So there we go. All righty.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing so many pieces of your life with us,
Yeah,
Commander Harrington. It's that was you, the ride, we've got some questions in the chat. Actually, they want to know, like, what's the name of the movie
Sure.
that you just showed us the little clip of there. We can start with that one, and then I'll toss some more to you.
The movie here in the United States is called Into America's Wild, and it's an IMAX big screen. So if you go to, if there's a museum in your town, if there's a IMAX theater and museum, they'll probably be showing it. You can go to intoamericaswild.com, and they have a list of the theaters. And I'm supposed to go all around the world to promote it. I was supposed to be in Barcelona last year, Mexico City, and COVID kind of put a stop to that. But hopefully get to do it again here real soon.
It's just a small stop, right?
Small stop, yeah.
Just a small stop. I have a couple questions about like your college trajectory and things, which I think you kind of addressed at the beginning, but just in case some people missed it, what exactly did you go to school for, and where did you attend college?
Sure. I started at the University of Colorado in Colorado Springs. It's an extension to the University of Colorado system. I started there because I grew up in Colorado Springs. I lived in Colorado Springs for probably up through about sixth grade, actually. And then I came back to the idea of being a forest ranger. I wanted to work outside. I didn't want to work in an office. And I spent all my time outside. And I met two guys climbing one day who encouraged me to learn how to climb. And that just took me away from my studies. And it wasn't that I wasn't intelligent. I just didn't have a motivation to be in school. I enjoyed being outside. I enjoyed the thrill of rock climbing. I enjoyed this feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment. I didn't get that in the classroom, but it took me into a job that gave me the opportunity to see people using math in their everyday lives. And I'd never seen that before. And I realized, and then my boss encouraged me to go back to school. And if I hadn't listened to him, we wouldn't be having this conversation, So the idea is that people will come along in your life when you least expect it and make a huge difference. And I was very fortunate that I made that decision to go back to school, majored in applied mathematics because math was fun. Math is fun, folks. It really is. It's a puzzle. And I saw it in practice. If you don't see it in practice, it's just not in a book, man. The stuff that happens behind me here, it's math. If you can't do the math, you can't do the chemistry, the biology, all that stuff. And so in engineering.
So you had someone that came in and made it tangible for you and showed you how to implement it with your passion. That's what our facilitators do for our students. And we're thankful that they take that step in every day and do that. Couple other questions that have come through for you. How long have you worked for NASA? And then we've got a plethora of questions of what it's like being in space, from how do you sleep, how do you eat, going to the bathroom, all those things.
Oh, the bathroom questions. Good.
Yes.
No, I was at NASA for 9 years. I was selected in 96, about 13 years in my Navy career. So I spent 9 years at NASA. I would have stayed at NASA, but the chance I couldn't fly on the space station because I have osteoporosis. And they told me, the doctor said, if I landed in the Soyuz, the Russian space capsule, too hard, I would break my back. Flying in space is fun, folks. Don't get me wrong. I like to walk. I spend the majority of the time walking, real time flying in space. So I made a really tough decision to leave. I could have stayed and flown the shuttle again. I regretted sometimes leaving because my friends flew more times than I did. But I had a chance to fly. I did everything on my mission that I could ever possibly done. And I did it well. And you can't ask for that kind of satisfaction. So that's about 9 years that I spent there. And eating in space, sleeping in space. Imagine for the first time you try and sleep and you're not touching anything. Nothing. You've entire life you've been laying on a bed or a couch or on the floor. Imagine the first time you're not touching anything. And when you close your eyes, these high energy particles from outside distant universe come in and whack you in the eyeball, and it kicks off a little flash of light. So every time you close your eyes, you're not touching anything, and you see fireworks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I slept for maybe 2 hours. 2 hours my first night. It was just weird. And then if you lean up against a wall, I lean against the wall to try and get to sleep, and the wall's cold because it's minus 200 outside or plus 200. So hot, cold. Sun comes up, goes down. You can't go to sleep when the sun goes down because you'll wake up when the sun comes up 45 minutes later. So you wear a mask over your eyes. Going to the bathroom is kind of hard. Probably one of the hardest things to do in space. You use vacuum to pull the waste away. Urine and the solids can be difficult. Just kind of leave it at that. It's not a strong, it's a happy vacuum. It's not a type of vacuum.
Okay.
Here we go. Let's leave it at that.
We'll leave it there. Hopefully that answers some of those questions that they were tossing back and forth there about how it is to use the restroom in space. Let's see, couple others. The bike ride that you were talking about and that you documented, what kind of bike was it? How did you choose the bike? All those different things. Tell us a little bit about that.
I went into a small bike shop in Oklahoma City called Pro Bike, and I talked to the guy about, here's what I want to do. He didn't know what I did. I didn't tell him, my background was. I had retired, and he showed me a bike. It was a Trek 520. It's a chromoly steel, frame bike, about 27 pounds. Came back about a week later, and he goes, "Hey, Trek would like to sponsor you. I know who you are." Guy's name's John Wright, one of my most fabulous friends now. John owns this really small bike shop, fabulous guy. So I bought a bunch of stuff from him, and I loaded up the bike, pedaled from Cape Flattery to Cape Canaveral, August of 2008 to November of 2008. I stopped along the way, spoke to schools, met kids, different reservations along the way, NASA schools. And I just share the story I'm sharing with you, that if there's a dream you have and a passion that you want to do, you need to put 1 foot forward. Every foot forward gets you a little closer to whatever that goal is. And that goal for me was, a 4,200 mile bike ride. And every single day I look forward to getting on the bike. And I pedaled maybe 80 miles a day. The longest day was like 120 miles, I think. And pedaled with a kid that I'd met on the bike ride somewhere. Kid was in his 20s. And I said, "Hey, you want to come to a launch?" So the very last day we pedaled 120 miles, and he goes, "That's a long way." And I'm like, "Come on." So I pulled this kid for 120 miles, and he wrote on his blog, he said, "I pedal with this 50-year-old dude, man. The guy's an animal." I thought,
it's not about age, right? It's all about the commitment, the endurance. Definitely not about age. Yeah. So, okay, John, we're nearing our 5-minute mark. Just another question or two, and then we'll let you tell people how to get in contact with you. There was a question about your heritage and if anybody, if there was any difficulties getting into NASA or with the Navy or anything like that when they realized that you were a Native American.
I wouldn't say there's any difficulties in it. I mean, it was one of these things you just don't walk around and say, "Hey, I'm a native guy." You know, you do your job, and I think whatever comes through you is what your ancestors gave you the opportunity to do. You know, I wouldn't be here if my ancestors hadn't done what they did to make my life possible.
Right.
And so I've always been very grateful for that. And I think in anything we do, you're basing your abilities, your work ethic, and all those type of things on just the nature of who you are and who your family is. So as a Chickasaw citizen, I'm very proud of the fact that my tribe has survived, for hundreds of thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, I should say, coming from somewhere in the West out to the Southeast, moved in the Trail of Tears to Indian Territory back in the 1800s due to Andrew Jackson and his policies. And by my tribe survived, and my tribe continued to make decisions that allowed us to thrive as a nation. My tribe is very prosperous now in the state of Oklahoma, a huge economic force that employs tens of thousands of people actually that are non-native that actually work for the tribe. And so I'm very fortunate that my governor, Bill Anatubby, my tribe is very supportive of education, supports me in the work that I do, certainly working with East and sharing the story. That I'm very proud. At NASA, I think the military is one of the most colorblind societies in the United States today. If you, no matter the color of your skin, your ethnicity, your religion, whatever, if you do a good job, you will be recognized for the work you do, not based on where you come from. And I think that's great. I think we should all be we shouldn't be put in a position to do something because of where we come from, but what we're capable of doing. And if, oh, by the way, we're Indian or we're African American or we're Indian American or whatever, you should be recognized for your accomplishments and what you can do. Because if they do it for another reason, then you work harder. Let me put it this way. I worked harder because I think people maybe looked at me, and I had a couple of folks say this: "Oh, you're Indian. That's why you got selected as an astronaut." I said, "No, I got selected. I work really hard. Oh, by the way, I'm Indian." And it made me work that much harder to keep people from saying, "Oh, that's why you're there." So I think I worked much harder. A lot of folks, friends of mine, were female in the office or any people of color. There was a little bit of that's why you're there. No, I'm here because I work hard and I do a good job, and you don't want anybody to give the fuel to the fire for that. So, yeah.
There we go. You worked hard and made your ancestors proud, right? There we go. Well, okay, John, so we're counting down to about 2 minutes here. If you would let the people know how to get in contact with you, hear more about your adventures, whether it be on the bike or another speaking engagement, how can we keep in touch?
Well, I could hashtag, like what's it John Oliver does, hashtag da 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 da. I don't have a website. What I go through.
You could totally partner with an East program to build a website for you and do some marketing.
Well, thank Kelly Faulkner for being the one that encouraged me to come to this. So thank you, Kelly, wherever you're out there. I want to. I just go through my tribe. A lot of folks reach me through the Chickasaw Nation, and there I have a request line to request at Harrington Arrow. That's my name, Harrington, HERRINGTON. Arrow, AERO, not Arrow as it's aerospace, harringtonarrow.com. If you want me to speak, I go through a speakers bureau as well for stuff that's outside of Oklahoma. The folks in Canada just contacted me about doing some Aboriginal work for First Nations. I am also on a kids show called Coyote's Crazy Science in Canada. I just filmed a bunch of episodes here in my hangar with a green screen. I live on a runway in Montana, so I have a couple airplanes that I get to go out and tool around in. So I've been very fortunate. I've got a chance to lead a life that I think I dreamed about as a kid, and I wouldn't be doing this if it hadn't been for people that encouraged me to seek out the best of myself. We all make mistakes. I mean, I made a mistake in college early on, and then I figured it out. And then you make mistakes throughout your career, but how do you the decisions you make and things that happen, how do you overcome those? And it's having the right people in your life that help you and encourage you. And I think that's what East does as well, is you give kids a chance to seek out the best in themselves and their education and make a difference for themselves and their community. That's the important part.
Indeed it is. Thanks, John, so much. Everyone will be back here on the main stage in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Hey, thank you guys. I had a great time.
Thank you for joining us for the session, Living Your Dreams. This session was recorded so you can go back and view it on our Facebook and our YouTube channels. The closing and awards session will start at noon. Until then, here is a little inspiring dance music. Happy Friday.
Welcome to our closing and awards session for East Conference 21. I'm Priscilla Foreman, an East alumni from Whitehall High School, class of 2019, and we would like to thank you all for being a part of this year's conference.
And I'm Conrad Murray, East alumni from Berryville High School, class of 2017. And we hope that this week has been full of empowering experiences, celebrations, and networking opportunities. We'll be announcing all of our competition Judges' Choice and Best of Conference winners this afternoon. We'd like to begin by thanking each of our sponsors for the support that they have provided.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Arkansas Department of Education, Division of Elementary and Secondary Education. Our gold sponsor, FIS and EPSCoR. Our silver sponsor, Esri. And our bronze sponsor, First Security, Windstream, and Avad 3.
We'd also like to thank our Experience Box sponsor, Arkansas State University, and our engagement sponsors, Axiom, Highland Dairy, and CAST. To all of our sponsors, thank you. East Conference isn't possible without the support each of you has shown.
So let's begin with our awards. All winners announced today will receive a trophy per competition and additional prizes from the competition host. If your program wins a competition, East will be in touch with your facilitator about getting your awards and prizes to you.
Our first student to be recognized is the creator of the conference logo you've all seen. Last spring, hundreds of logos were submitted by East students in the 2021 conference logo competition. Thank you again, Grayson Cyber from Armorell High School, for your logo.
This year, we had a variety of individual student competitions, giving East students the opportunity to show off their talents and expertise. And these competitions would not be possible without our competition hosts. They had the difficult job of choosing the finalists and winners you will see today. Let's start with the mapping app competition.
The Center for Advanced Spatial Technologies, CAST, at the University of Arkansas is pleased to host the Mapping Apps Competition for East to recognize quality projects built with Esri's ArcGIS Online. Whether a story map, a dashboard, or using the web app builder, schools had the chance to show off their team's talent. The competition finalists are Lexi Jarrett, Cross County High, a new tech school; Axon Wallace, Kyle Fitzgerald, Austin James, Ricky Harbison, Kelton Pertain, Javen Thompson, Rice Logans, Evan Henley, Harrisburg Middle School; Mimi Regler, Natalie Comstock, Hot Springs Junior Academy; Nathan Harbart from Hot Springs Junior Academy; Layla Eliadi from Nettleton High School. And the winner of the mapping app competition is Mimi Regler and Natalie Comstock, Hot Springs Junior Academy, for their Hub Hot Springs project.
The music competition is an opportunity for students who enjoy creating music and sharing their talents with ease. Music is needed from all genres, lyrical or instrumental, and should be suitable for a broad audience, from students to corporate guests. The winner of the music competition is Micah Casterman, Searcy High School, for his composition, Take the Dub.
This competition provided an opportunity for students to demonstrate how they utilize drones in an East project. The winner of the drone competition is Aiden Qualis, Chase Bupp, Caleb Suter, Braden Littlefield, and Alex Rangel from Buffalo Island Central High School for their drone field mapping project. Within an East project. Making a sensor is cool, but it also needs to be something used to benefit your community and or client. The winner of the Microcontrolling Everything competition is Chastity Grigory, Buffalo Island Central High School, for her Lift Station Light Sensor project.
The Best of Conference Awards honor East programs that exemplify the best that conference has to offer. All registered conference attendees were able to vote for their favorite in 5 different categories. Let's start with Best of Conference Signature Booth. There wasn't a requirement to build a physical booth this year, but there was a chance to show it off, and you did. The finalists are Hellstern Middle School, Monitor Elementary, Nettleton Junior High School, North Little Rock High School, Paragould High School, and the winner of Best of Conference Signature Booth is Nettleton Junior High School.
Now, we'd like to recognize for the final time at conference our 2021 Founders Award winners. They are joining us live today with their award. So let's say congratulations again to Harrisburg Middle School. Hello there, Harrisburg Middle. It's good to see you all. Thank you so much for emoting in and seeing us. Congratulations to Mountain Home Career Academies. Good afternoon, Mountain Home. It's nice to see everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Sonora Middle School. Hello. Hello, Sonora Middle. It is great to see you all. Thank you so much for zooming in and seeing us. Again, congratulations to our Founders winners and for all that you shared at conference.
Teams of judges learned about the amazing ways you are all growing and helping your community. Each of those judging teams selected one school from their group that impressed them. Over 30 schools will be recognized as part of the Judges' Choice Awards, and certificates will be sent to you. We will announce the Judges' Choice Awards throughout the show. So let's start with our first group. And the winners of the Judges' Choice Awards are North Little Rock Middle School, Wynn High School, Westside High School Jonesboro, Gosnell Elementary School, Marshall High School, Sulphur Rock Magnet Elementary School, East Stem Junior High Public Charter School, Truman G. Smith Elementary School, Don Tyson School of Innovation, Farmington Career Academies, and Oaklawn Magnet School. Congratulations to our first set of Judges' Choice winners.
Utilizing mainly SketchUp, teams of 3 or less were asked by SketchUp to create a design that would enhance the community for the greater good. Entries were judged based on innovation and practicality. The competition finalists are Inshra Quasi, Breccia Hunter, and Maria Otto Martin, Central High School, Little Rock. Camila Coronado, Alyssa Norris, and Luke Dixon from Harrisburg Middle School. Caden Biggers from Harrisburg Middle School. Talia Bradley from Henderson Middle School. And the winner of the SketchUp competition is Talia Bradley from Henderson Middle School for her Leader in Me project.
In the Picture This competition, you were asked to share the single best photo you've taken this year as part of an East project. The competition finalists are Grayson Siebert, Armorel High School, Macy McCommon, Cross County High, a new tech school, Josh Dodson, Mountain Home Career Academies, Kendall Clore, Pinnacle View Middle School, Anika Acebo, the Academies at Jonesboro High School. And the winner of the Picture This competition is Grayson Siebert, Armorel High School, for his Blytheville postcard mural picture.
For this competition, East was seeking the best use of multimedia within an East project. Successful proposals included examples of video elements, 3D work creation, audio production, and/or graphic design. Extra consideration was granted to applicants who incorporated multiple types of multimedia into their projects. And the finalists are Chloe Lee, Carver Magnet Elementary School, Ashley Vinson, Nettleton High School, Colby Craig, Evan Cole, and Logan Dunlap, Northeast Tech Claremore. Cooper Lovett, Anna Johnson, and Madison Mitchell from Northwest Tech Claremore. Tristan Young, Joseph DeWartmeiser, and Grace Warzinak, Northeast Tech Claremore. And the winner of the multimedia competition is Chloe Lee, Carver Magna Elementary School, for her That's an Icon You Should Know project.
Now it's time to give the Best of Conference Spirit Chant Award. Your program had East Homecoming Spirit and the cheer to prove it. The finalists are Harrison High School, John Tyson Elementary School, Pottsville Junior High School, Shaw Elementary School, and Westwood Elementary School. And the winner of Best of Conference Spirit Chant is John Tyson Elementary School. Friends of East is more than just a network of people who are passionate about East. It is a network that fosters relationships in order to support East and its students through value-added services and support through fundraising, events, and volunteer efforts. We're currently recruiting for members to sit on our Education and Social, Fundraising, Membership, and Engagement Committee. Give back to East in a meaningful way by applying at the link in the chat, eastlink.me/FOE committee.
The Tech Support Olympiad was designed for students to showcase their technical skills. This was a multi-round competition that included a series of rounds prior to conference where students had to solve a series of intricate puzzles. And the finalists are Kevin Durden, Central High School, Little Rock; Alex Prosser, Clinton High School; Clancy Malam, Century High School, Conversion Charter; Ryan Bell, Nettleton High School; Thomas Spears, Prairie Grove High School. And the winner of the Tech Support Olympiad is Clancy Malam, Gentry High School, Conversion Charter.
Now it's time for our intentionally inventive marketing competition. This competition seeks to identify the best marketing material created for an East project or East event this year. This could include any combination of photos, posters, videos, flyers, t-shirts, and etc., but it should be top-notch. The finalists are Zoe Cole and Drew Sides, Cross County High, a new tech school; Kylie Garrison, Emery Gray, and Jillian Sutton, Harrisburg Middle School; Lauren Dewey, Josh Dotson, Audrey Young, and Trent Gundry, Mountain Home Career Academies; Madeline Lynch, Lauren Dewey, Nathaniel Williams, and Zach Spalding, Mountain Home Career Academies; Anika Acebo, the Academies at Jonesboro High School. And the winner of the intentionally inventive marketing competition is Madeline Lynch, Lauren Dewey, Nathan Williams, and Zach Spalding, Mountain Home Career Academies, for their 2 yes votes for Mountain Home campaign.
MakerMade wanted to see the most innovative use of 3D printing within an East project. They were looking for more than a basic 3D print. It also needed to be something used to benefit their community and/or a client. The finalists are Chastney Grigory, Buffalo Island Central High School; Jose Cortez, Ethan Hawkins, and Landon Hufford, Buffalo Island Central High School; Ian Thompson and Mason Corley, Clinton High School; Anika Acebo, the Academies at Jonesboro High School; Ella Layton, Valley View High School. And the winner of the 3D printed up competition is Ella Layton, Valley View High School, for the Bone Builder project.
It's time to give the Best of Conference Tech in Action Award. You've worked hard this year. Here's your chance to show us your best use of technology that kept you going this East year. The finalists are Buffalo Island Central High School, Fountain Lake Charter High School, John Tyson Elementary School, Paragould High School, Springdale High School. And the Best of Conference Tech in Action winner is Paragould High School.
The East Cornerstone Awards of Project Sophistication and Innovation, Student Growth and Engagement, and Community and Collaboration recognize programs that are rooted in the core principles of East. The East Cornerstone Award for Project Sophistication and Innovation recognizes an East program that consistently uses technology in innovative and strategic ways to solve community problems. The winning program cultivates and rewards student creativity and innovation in not just one project, but program-wide. The Cornerstone Award for Community and Collaboration recognizes an East program that develops and grows community partnerships and exemplifies the ideals of East. The winning program has shown an extraordinary ability to work and communicate effectively with professionals and clients while strategically developing relationships. The East Cornerstone Award for Student Growth and Engagement recognizes an East program that exemplifies student and program growth in various areas. The winning program provides a positive environment, promotes individual growth, empowers students to find their passions, and motivates them to learn and progress. These are the East Cornerstone Awards.
Congratulations again to our Cornerstone winners that were announced prior to conference. Student Growth and Engagement winner, Clinton High School. Community and Collaboration winner, Cross County High School, a new tech school. Project Sophistication and Innovation winner, Lakeside High School, Hot Springs. Congratulations again to all of these schools on your award, and thank you all for your wonderful education session today.
Utilizing ArchiCAD, Graphisoft asked teams of 3 or less to design a building or facility to enhance their community for the common good. Entries were judged based on innovation and practicality. And the winner of the ArchiCAD competition is Avelino Hurtado Henderson Middle School for the Fair K-8 Preparatory School Playground.
The Arkansas Tech University College of Business asked you to create your best cover letter and resume to apply for the general intern position at East. The top submissions were selected to move on to the interview round. This competition recognizes East students who have demonstrated knowledge and skills essential for successful careers. And the finalists are Mally Zielinski, Buffalo Island Central High School; Michaela Stevens, Hot Springs Junior Academy; Audrey Young, Mountain Home Career Academies; Lauren Dewey, Mountain Home Career Academies; Sophie Quick, Mountain Home Career Academies. And the winner of Hello, My Name Is interview competition is Audrey Young, Mountain Home Career Academies.
The CAS Geospatial Support Team announced a new East student program this year, Go Map 21. This competition rewards East students mapping activity using the ArcGIS software. Students in this competition clearly demonstrated how they have been using, learning, or sharing their ArcGIS skills within the East classroom or within their community partners and peers. The finalists are Logan Apple, Jorge Castillo, and Eric Granados, Buffalo Island Central High School; Joseph Florini, Jack Wentz, and CJ Hogue, Mountain Lake High School; Javen Thompson and Kelton Partain, Harrisburg Middle School; Mimi Riegler and Natalie Cormack, Hot Springs Junior Academy; Gavin Ryan, Pottsville Junior High School. And the winner of the Go Map 21 competition is Mimi Riegler and Natalie Cormack, Hot Springs Junior Academy, for their Hub Hot Springs project.
It wouldn't be East Conference without team t-shirts. Here are the finalists for the Best of Conference Dress to a T category. Alf Junior High School, Arkansas High School, Hot Springs Junior Academy, McCrory High School, and Paragould High School. And the winner of Best of Conference Dress to a T is Alf Junior High School.
It's time to announce the second group of Judges' Choice winners. And the winners of the Judges' Choice Awards are Rising Schools, Greenbrier Middle School, Gurdon High School, Hoxie High School, Mineral Springs High School, Lamar High School, Lake Hamilton High School, Kiamichi Technology Center's Poto, Hamburg High School, Whitehall High School, Two Rivers High School. Congratulations to our second group of Judges' Choice winners.
The Faye Jones School of Architecture and Design at the University of Arkansas wanted to see the coolest architectural designs, 2D or 3D. You have made this year, and they wanted to know how those designs were used in your East project. Designs could include everything from a building design or renovation, interior design to landscape design projects. And the winner of the Faye Jones Architectural Challenge is Samantha Flores and Jeleva Calvin, Morrilton Senior High School.
The Perfect Pitch competition challenged applicants to give their best 90-second pitch on an East project. The Arkansas Capital Corporation asked them to concisely summarize a problem, propose a solution, and share the current stage of that solution for securing partnerships, funding, and support from their stakeholders. This week on the main stage, you, the audience, along with the judges from the Arkansas Capital Corporation, decided on the winning pitch. The finalists are Kevin Durden, Central High School of Little Rock; Isaac Brown, Don Tyson School of Innovation; Sophie Quick and Zachary Spalding, Mountain Home Career Academies; Navalia Porche, Parkview Magnet High School; Ryan Valeato, Southwood High School. And the winner of the Perfect Pitch competition is Sophie Quick and Zachary Spalding, Mountain Home Career Academies, for their pitch about the Baxter County Outside Project.
In this new competition, programs had an opportunity to demonstrate how they have helped, worked with, or honored veterans in their community. And the finalists are Mally Zielinski, Amber Orozco, Carson Cruz, Kason Rose, Lathan Crane, Shireen Davis, and Haley Milligan, Buffalo Island Central High School; Kylie Garrison, Harrisburg Middle School; Lauren Dewey, Devin Prinz, Sophie Quick, and Zach Spalding, Mountain Home Career Academies. And the winner of the Honor Our Vets competition is Mally Zielinski, Amber Orozco, Carson Cruz, Kason Rose, Lathan Crane, Shireen Davis, and Haley Milligan from Buffalo Island Central High School for their 2020 Veterans Day program project.
This has been an unprecedented year, and East students have developed innovative ways to help. So this competition was designed for programs to share how their teams have adapted and responded to the COVID-19 pandemic. And the finalists are Hattie Johnson, Sophie Seaton, Haley Brown, Robert Langtriff, Jackson Elm, and Logan Evans, Batesville Junior High School; Kerrigan Davis and Austin Ford, Buffalo Island Central High School; Josh Gutner and Brittany Lyrie, Buffalo Island Central High School; Olivia Exum, Nettleton STEAM School; Leslie Allman, Hattie Galvin, and Allison Roosevelt, Parson Hills Elementary School. And the winner of the COVID-19 response is Leslie Allman, Hattie Galvin, and Allison Roosevelt, Parson Hills Elementary School, for their touchless hand washing timer project.
This week during conference, you had some opportunities to participate in various social media contests. Congratulations to Monday's social media competition winner, Hot Springs Junior Academy, for their great photos showing that they were #EastCon21 ready, and to Wednesday's #East Leprechaun winners, Beebe Middle School and Lawson Elementary School, for an awesome display of St. Patrick's Day spirit. They both were so creative, we picked 2 winners. Don't forget that today's contest, #EastCon21 Bingo, wraps up at 3 p.m. Make sure you're filling out the conference bingo cards in your experience box and be on the lookout for the winner announcement via social media and in the post-conference email.
You showed us how your team stands out at our virtual conference with coordinated outfits, e-swag, and other creative fashions. Here are the finalists for the Best of Conference Homecoming Style category. Eagle Mountain Magnet Elementary School, Fountain Lake Charter High School, Harrison High School, Hellstern Middle School, Mountain Home Career Academies. And the winner of Best of Conference Homecoming Style is Eagle Mountain Magnet Elementary School.
It is now time to announce our final Judges' Choice winners. And the winner of the Judges' Choice Awards are Pinnacle View Middle School, Buffalo Island Central Junior High School, Harrisburg Elementary School, Walker Elementary School, Carver Magnet Elementary School, Lincoln Middle School, Gentry Intermediate School, Hot Springs Junior Academy, Greenbrier High School, Kimchi Technology Centers, Yofa High School. Congratulations to our last group of Judges' Choice schools.
The East Project competition recognizes and celebrates the best of the best. These are projects that fill the cart while making an impact on the community. This is the East Project competition.
It's time to announce the winner of the East Project competition. This week on the main stage, you, the audience, along with the judges, decided on the winning project. And the finalists are Macy McCommon, Lexi Jarrett, Sierra Stevens, Cross County High, a new tech school, Daniel Chin, Ian Castanero, and Alvin Wu, Don Roberts Elementary School, Dave Modi, Kennedy Stewart, Silas McGahay, Brian Nguyen, Marley Gibbons, and Callie Salerno, Don Roberts Elementary School, William Rawleton, Harrisburg Middle School, Evie Huggins, Andrew Barty, Macy Brown, Alwina Lashmas, and Godfrey Sumansi, John Tyson Elementary School. And this year's winner found a way to serve a past client in a new way. Using photos, 2D mapping, 3D modeling, and 3D printing, this East program helped adults attending classes navigate their building. With the 3D maps for the World Services for the Blind project, the 2021 East Project competition winner is Dave Modi, Kennedy Stewart, Silas McGahay, Brian Nguyen, Marley Gibbons, Callie Salerno, Don Roberts Elementary School.
When we set homecoming as the theme for the conference, we had no idea what it would look like, and we could not have imagined the event that it grew into. The East Conference, and homecomings in general, were developed to be an opportunity to come together and reflect, a time to celebrate both where we are now at this moment and the paths that led us here. Over the past 3 days, we have honored our storied past and cheered the thousands of you who are carrying our mission into the future. Thank you to all the presenters and moderators, all the volunteers and supporters, and our sponsors. We cannot bring you the East Conference that you deserve without them. I want to give a special thank you to our MainStage hosts, Shelby, RJ, Callie, Conrad, Priscilla. Your commitment to our students is humbling proof that East is more than something you did in school one time. When the call went out, the East alumni stepped in to serve again. They came home to make sure our traditions continued. Behind them are the East staff who have been working tirelessly to invent something new that feels completely original, but also comfortingly familiar. If I named them all, I would get myself into trouble because apparently time works differently on camera than it does on stage. But every member of the staff has given you everything they have in creativity and effort. They are the best there is. They love you much more than you know. And I cannot thank them enough. Of course, our East facilitators deserve our thanks as well. They have been a constant source of encouragement, leadership, and hope through all of the uncertainty and discomfort that got us to today. I cannot overemphasize the importance of the simple statement, I am an East facilitator. Those are 5 words that are both a badge of honor and a declaration that education goes so far beyond rote facts and abstract ideas. And then we come to our center, our heart, and our purpose. East students never disappoint. They solve more problems on a random Tuesday than many students will solve in their entire educational careers. You make the world a better place. You assure us that our future will be brighter than what we have today. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your work. Thank you for doing that work. And thank you for putting others ahead of yourselves. East Conference 2021 has been an uplifting and enriching experience. It has been one heck of a gathering. Let's take a moment and look back at it, courtesy of our friends at Avad 3.
Welcome to East Conference 2021 Homecoming.
Conference has always been about celebrating the students. It was born out of this idea of letting the students have a professional experience and getting to celebrate what they're doing.
East is its own community because there's little East classrooms everywhere, but in the end we all come together, we all want to do the same thing and we all want to make a difference.
That I am excited to announce that on Monday, Governor Asa Hutchinson signed an official proclamation recognizing the power of East. This week, March 14 through the 20th, has been named East Week in the state of Arkansas.
And when you get to work with others, you get to combine ideas, speak to others, just be more than I am alone.
There's a lot to be said when you are able to touch science projects, when you're able to touch the technology and then not only physically touch it, but touch it with your mind. It's a very hands-on, immersive experience.
The best thing about being an East facilitator is watching the kids get excited. Like when they have that aha moment, I like to see that light come on.
The goal of conference is really going back to getting those students together and letting them talk to each other, collaborate, and really see what's possible at East. But sometimes for these kids, conference is that one experience that takes them beyond what they know. And that is so cool.
East has given a way to make my knowledge louder, in a sense, to be able to allow others to see and hear and have a better understanding of it.
Conference is like their Super Bowl, their championship. It's something that they work towards all year.
We can't do what we do if everybody isn't in this together. Whether you're in the kindergarten or the second grade, whether you're in middle school, high school, you've gone on to college, you've become a successful professional. We are one family. And that's why homecoming is such a powerful and important thing. How cool is that? One thing about homecoming I did not mention, it typically ends with a dance. Priscilla, Conrad, let's take them home.